If you haven't noticed yet, it's fire season in Southern California. We've had the Santa Ana winds, we have the fires in Los Angeles County and other areas. And we want to welcome Dr. John Hovannisian from Harvard Eye Associates. We're going to talk about our eyes and the irritants that are in the air these days, right?
There are so many. This has been a tough season. As we used to joke when I moved to California, I learned that there are 2 seasons here, spring and summer, right? That's all we have, right? But now we also have fire season, and it comes at any time of year, and you described it.
Yeah. So I see a lot of people, we see airports, we see people going around the community still wearing masks to protect themselves from things, but you don't see a lot of people wearing goggles. But I've seen some of the reporters up there, and they're wearing absolute goggles for their eyes. And how important is it to protect your eyes? And can you use like sunglasses or just regular glasses to protect your eyes from particulates?
So, the problem, of course, with this season, even when there are no fires, when the Santa Ana winds blow, and right now there's this big high-pressure system over the desert southwest and other weather patterns that are just causing these high and, more importantly, gusty winds that are bringing dry air and all of the contents from those inland valleys, those inland deserts, here to the coast. And it's wreaking havoc with us. So yes, masks are a great way to protect your lungs, particularly those that really filter, like the N95 type masks. Your skin, gets dried out and irritated as well. And of course, the eyes are like a magnet for particulate matter because they're moist and they're exposed.
Right.
You wouldn't walk around with your mouth open in the, in weather like that, bad air quality, but you do it with your eyes open. And so you're right. Probably the first measure of protection is to wear something over your eyes that's going to protect them. So when we think about the offense that this bad air quality brings, it's kind of 2 categories. One is the dryness and the dust and just foreign bodies that attack the eye, and the second is the allergy-producing stuff. And what's interesting about the allergy-producing stuff is that we're now exposed because of the Santa Anas to stuff in the air that we don't normally get exposed to, right?
Right.
The molds and the spores and the dust that comes from the desert. And so we see patients who have allergies who don't normally have allergies.
And this is my time of year actually when I feel like I'm about to get sick, and when the Santa Anas go away, then that feeling goes away. So I know that it does affect me, and my eyes do get a little bit dry. One of the temptations is to, when we're outside or things is to rub our eyes, and that's a bad idea, right? Because of our dirty hands.
Well, that's one thing is the dirt on your hands, and also the direct pressure on the eye. We should be very gentle when we rub our eyes because they're very delicate structures, and there's some evidence that the cumulative trauma of knuckling your eyeballs throughout your life can cause real problems later on in life. And we don't fully understand that yet, but you're right. Rubbing is something we should try to avoid.
Yeah, and then also just our hands are kind of a gateway for germs, and if we're going to let them in, and can we really hurt our eyes by doing those kinds of things?
Well, absolutely. You make a great point about germs. You touch a doorknob that somebody sneezed on or sneezed on their hand and then on the doorknob, and you can catch cold that way. Very often the eyes are the conduit to the respiratory system because they're all connected. And so, and in the bad weather, certainly they're a magnet for particles. And so occlusive goggles are a great idea, just like you'd wear safety glasses. They're not always practical, and so just sunglasses or glasses that fit closely to the face provide a lot more protection than not wearing anything when you're outdoors.
Now, if I've been out all day, if I have to work outdoors, and like people should be staying home and staying indoors if they can, but some people just can't. And by the end of the day, their eyes are dry and they're hurting. Can eye drops be kind of a good thing to maybe throughout the day?
Yeah, so eye drops, a lot of people don't think about taking eye drops before they go outside because our eyes don't bother us before we go outside. But you actually give yourself a measure of protection by putting in lubricant drops before you go outside. And particularly if you have watery eyes when you go outside, it's often because they're dry, and the wind that dries them out causes them to have reflex tearing. And so our eyes flood. But you can prevent that in many cases by putting in lubricant drops before you go outside. And the same holds true for these irritating weather conditions. Also, after you've been outside, if they're very irritated, particularly if you have allergy, and we should talk a little bit about what it means to have allergy, what the symptoms are, rinsing the eyes is actually not a bad idea. So there are eye wash solutions. You don't want to typically use tap water in your eyes because it's not pH balanced. It's not balanced, with salts to be gentle on your eye. So eye wash is meant for all of those things. And there are videos online that show how to properly use it to just give a little flush to the eyes and pull down the lower eyelid, pull up the upper eyelid to let it clear out particulate matter that's accumulated in the eyes that can cause irritation.
But can washing your, I mean, if you don't have an eye wash or something, can just maybe keeping your eyes closed or just washing your face kind of just wash off those things that are around there too?
Yes, sure. It's not going to give you the same type of cleansing of the eye and that you get from properly flushing. Some people use little eye cups. Those can get contaminated. I think the safest way to do it is just with the dropper bottle, giving drops in the eye and letting it flush through. A lot of people with allergies find that helps a lot. Also, so let's talk about allergy symptoms for a second. It's not just about itching. Itching is a cardinal symptom of the eyes, of that feeling like you want to sneeze in the nose is a cardinal sign of allergy. But a lot of patients just get kind of a burning sensation and irritation. Also, the skin around the eyes gets this puffy look with kind of an alligator skin appearance to it. It's kind of rough-looking skin. That's eczema-like reaction. That indicates allergy. We see that a lot. And so cool compresses. Cold is the enemy of histamine that causes allergies. And so histamine is really not the cause, but the body's response to something that it's allergic to. And so cool reduces that response and makes you less uncomfortable.
Okay. And how long should maybe if somebody has their eyes are irritated, they're having that allergic reaction on the eye, how long maybe should someone put them on the eye? I mean, like, too long and too cold can be kind of a problem too, right?
Yeah, I mean, typically if it's uncomfortable, that shouldn't, that's too much. What I tell folks is, get like, easy way, you can get a cool pack that you keep in the fridge or the freezer and wrap it in a wet washcloth. You can use a bag of frozen peas; those work just fine. Or asparagus if you prefer asparagus. But something that sort of molds to the eye is going to be most comfortable for you to put on your eyes. And so cool temperature. A few minutes, do what's comfortable, because your body will give you feedback as to how often you need to do it and how much you need to do it. And then, of course, there are antihistamine eye drops that you can get at the pharmacy as well. And antihistamine eye drops come in different varieties. There's probably the strongest variety they make today, and we have no interest in any particular brand, but Patanol and Pataday are two brands that contain olopatadine, a very highly effective and highly concentrated form. Also, Zaditor is a good antihistamine some people like, and is also over the counter, so you don't need a prescription for those. Okay,
but before I do any of those things, it's probably a good idea to get a recommendation from an eye doctor before I go start getting prescription type medicines and things like that, right?
Sure, those are non-prescription, so anybody can get them, and it never hurts to try them. But
let's take the guesswork out.
Yeah, it's good to see a doctor, particularly if this is a recurring theme for you to get some guidance. And then the other thing a doctor can give you is kind of the Smart Bomb eye drop that is stronger than an antihistamine, because occasionally we have patients whose symptoms just aren't going to be controlled by those over-the-counter solutions. And so we prescribe a steroid eye drop. And they make some very safe steroid eye drops that can be used in low dose, and they wipe the heck out of allergy symptoms.
Okay. Are there some extreme examples or some like, wow, didn't you see this coming examples of when people have been too exposed to maybe Santa Ana winds, dry winds, or maybe irritants like smoke and that kind of thing? What can happen when it's time to go see my eye doctor?
Yeah, well, allergies can cause a real long-term issue for the eyes. It's not just a short-term discomfort problem. It's the inflammation of the eye causes it eventually to become somewhat desensitized, which potentiates the risk of dry eye and other problems affecting the eye. So it's important not to just put up with uncomfortable eyes if you can avoid it, to seek help, to help yourself where you can, and take care of your eyes. They're the only two you'll ever get.
That's very true. All right, well, Dr. John Hovanesian from Harvard Eye Associates, there's one person to go to get some help for that. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here.
It's a pleasure to see you, Michael.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.